Howdy ho, good neighbors. What's going on? It's Phil Russert, Philbo Publishing, and we're excited because we are launching tonight live in your home. Yeah, so we got our buddy from the north, out of Canada, and he's the creator and writer of this book, and it's exciting. If you're into role-playing games and Dungeons & Dragons and fantasy and comic books, this has got it all. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have some special guests. We're going to have some of the creative team. We're going to show you the campaign, some trailers, and hopefully you're going to back and pledge and launch this quickly. This is the creator's second Kickstarter, but first book ever. So he's nervous and excited at the same time. Let's show him some love. Without further ado, Ray Jameson, a.k.a. on Facebook, DM Ray.
Good afternoon. Good to see everybody.
Afternoon.
Yeah, very, very excited. I guess time zones. I guess it's evening now, depending what side of the country you're on, or overseas, of course.
Yeah, man, are you pumped? Are you excited or what? This is it.
I am. There's a whole whirlwind. This has been a long time coming. There's been many times in my life where I've had to prepare for things, and then the payoff finally happens, and it's almost too exciting to accept or to take in. And this is just kind of like the final act of something that was big build up, and it's just finally about to happen. The excitement I can't fully put to proper words.
And how many years have you been working at this?
This is just over 2 years now. This has been a very long and methodical ride. It feels long anyways. I mean, the older you get, 2 years doesn't feel that long, but it all depends on context, right?
Hey, Room 47 Creations, what's going on?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be great. You approached me. You said, hey, I got this book. I looked at it. I mean, I'm a big Dungeons & Dragons fan, so that already, got my interest. But I liked that this was a story it wasn't just a typical derivative Dungeons & Dragons story. It was different. It was new, but it also touches on an age-old concept of camaraderie and friendship and brotherhood. And we're going to get deeper into that, but those are all the themes that hit me. At that point, it was just a question of what does the book look like, right? Because we have to be honest, comic books are a visual aesthetic, they're a visual medium.
Yes.
And it had to look good. So the art is quality, and Dan Kemp, I mean, my God, the colors are just through the roof. And Micah is a great letterer, professional. So it's a professional book, and you had me sold, and we're doing this.
Yeah. The biggest thing that really...
Hey, Christopher.
Hi, Chris. I'm so beside myself.
Thank you so much for sharing out.
I really appreciate that.
We appreciate your excitement.
The amount of talent in such it seems like a really small world. All I did was just on social media ask individuals, hey, what do you think about contributing to my project here? And of course I got no's, but some of the people said yes. You already mentioned Dan Kemp. This is a guy that's done Spawn is, I think, just shy of 350 issues now. He's done over a quarter of those issues.
Yep.
And to have, I've used this phrase on previous streams already, to have that person's metaphorical fingerprints on my project, it just baffles me. But he's
done almost a third of those, actually. Yeah,
he's done
100 issues. Didn't he do like 100 issues on there or something like that?
Roughly 100 issues, and I think they're just at shy of 340 now, Spawn's current one. But yeah, it's over 25%. It's almost a third of it. Like it's pretty wild to. I mean, he's been shoulder to shoulder with obviously McFarlane, Capallo, Chance Wolf. He's collaborated with these guys, and here's this guy who has had this level of experience, and then looks at mine and says, "Yeah, I'll take a chance on that." Like that. That's very, very flattering. Nothing short of that.
And Dan is one of the good ones too, though. So
that's true.
He's down to earth, dude.
One of the things I really like is he can talk about anything, Like you just bring up a topic, he's happy to just have a conversation. It's very nice to see where the ebb and flow of conversation goes with him. Best way to put it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and he's definitely not shy, which is good. Which is good. He's a good guy.
Yes,
and he's just such a phenomenal talent. But you got a great creative team, and you got some amazing covers that we're going to show Jimbo Salgado and a bunch of other people. We're going to get into it. We're going to have some guests, but we're gonna show the campaign and everything soon. We're gonna show a trailer in a minute. We're gonna launch before our guests come on. But I wanted to ask you, through the process of this, when you're looking for an artist for this, did you have a style in mind? Did you have a specific artist in mind? What was your selection process and who you wanted to illustrate this book?
So it's really funny you ask it that way. Any of my closest friends, if they ever see a playlist of songs I have, they're all over the place. Just like music, I don't have a favorite genre of music. It depends on the song. I treat each individual song, and an artist's style is kind of the same thing. I can appreciate a very, for lack of better wording, and I don't mean this isn't insulting to any artist's talent out there, I could have a really basic style of art and really appreciate it for its simplicity. Obviously, there's the greats out there. You mentioned Dan, but also someone like Alex Ross. I'm a big fan of Alex Ross. In regards to how it applies to how I saw my book and the imagery, well, since it was fantasy, there were some elements of my book isn't horror centric, but I mean, if you're dealing with fantasy, there's maybe you're dealing with the undead. So any artist with a little bit of a horror flair, I would definitely consider. Any artist that I've seen online, anything with melee, be it swords or anything like that, I definitely would look and heavily consider. But at the end of the day, like Jimbo Salgado was a great example of, I just saw he likes drawing Galactus a lot. I mean, he draws lots of things, but he has a lot of Galactus images. Yeah. I look at that and I just say to myself, he could draw any of my characters, no problem. I can just
he's amazing.
By the each little facet on Galactus suit or helmet, or even just to see sometimes the Silver Surfer somewhere in there. Yeah. You can tell by the texture, the detail. If I've got one of my characters has some bulky brass armor, well, he could draw that. If you have somebody, or one of my characters has a lot of leathers, you can see exactly. I guess the best way to put it is you can see he has the right level of intelligence for what I would be looking for. Cool. I don't know how to put that, but yeah.
We have our first guest is backstage. We can bring him on and launch live with him here if you want. Without further ado, artist extraordinaire and talent, Sean Langley.
Hello, Sean.
Well, hello. That's some high praise. Hi there.
How's it going? We're going to show off some. You're going to show off his piece, right?
Yes, I can do that. Let me get this set up quick. I've got it right here.
Sorry, Sean. Go ahead. Yeah, we got you.
You guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Loud and clear.
That's some high praise, by the way. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So how have you been? How you doing? And thanks for coming on. Tell us a little about yourself and your part in this project.
No problem at all. I managed to do a full page spread of the main characters fighting a horde of zombies. And when I was first contacted, I'm like, you had me a horde of zombies. I'm good. And then it's one of my favorite things. That I'm literally drawing zombies right now on my desk while I'm talking to you guys.
Nice. Yeah, we got the piece up here in full color. The black and white's great too. But the black and white looks fantastic.
Dan did such a good job on that.
Yes, he did. But the grit and the horror illustration that you did, because the zombies, your inks on it and everything you did, how raw it was, it really captured the feel of them being surrounded by this horde of zombies. So I'm a big fan of inked pieces of work. and putting them side by side with the color. So I just think they both look fantastic. This is really great, and this is going to be pivotal too as part of the campaign. But we'll leave that for a surprise for later on. I'm going. Do you want to put the trailer, the teaser up?
Sure. One last thing I'd like to say about this pinup. I really like, Sean, how it's very. You obviously had the ideal of drawing the eye towards the center from the external movement inward, but at the same time, you were able to maintain individuality amongst all of the four main characters. Yeah. I thought that was quite a balance to pull off. Like that isn't something your average Joe could just doodle out. It's very clear. I watched your process. You have I don't want to say a loose process, but it's very fluid, I guess is a better way to put it. But you could tell you had
loose, in your head. Especially with my pencils. Yeah. With it, when I do pencils, especially for something zombie, where I've always inked my own stuff, I've never really had anybody ink anything that I've done. My pencils are always really loose, and I forget that. And sometimes I have to add more detail to show kind of the concept that's in my head. But I get that a lot. I did work on a comic series with a friend of mine named Josh Dahl a while back, and now and then I would have an idea for a cover, and I would sketch it out. And on a regular basis, he would say, "I can't see what you're seeing, but I trust what you got in your head, so just keep going." And he ended up loving the finished product.
Well, just to keep it short, I also wanted to point out, just reflecting on what you're talking about there, you did a good job of getting the anatomy down before you started dressing up set anatomy. Like you laid out the mannequins before putting the clothes on, I guess is a better way to put it. And it was very clear. I had, even though, as you mentioned, some of the detail was lacking, for lack of better wording, it was very clear you had a plan. So I was very confident looking at your other work that I knew it was going to be decent. And it's definitely more than that, that's for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Yeah, and with everything you have going on there,
concept in my head, yeah.
And with everything you have going on there, it doesn't look convoluted or jumbled at all. It's very clear and succinct. It's very nice.
That's right. Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah, I try not to get it too noisy, but also everything. I don't like black and white pieces where you can't tell what's going on when you zoom out from it. Right. So I was trying to keep, the zombies a certain level of detail and outlining, and the main characters to have them kind of a thicker outline, so they make sure they stand out. So if you zoomed out from it, you could still tell who was who and what was going on.
Very cool. Yeah, great job. We're going to show the teaser trailer, but we have another guest backstage. Actually, Jenna Stark has joined us backstage. So instead of having her wait, I'm going to pull her on. We'll say hi, and you can send the teaser trailer over, and then we'll say hi to Jenna. We'll start the teaser.
Okay.
So we have another guest, a cover artist, brilliant talent. I've never met her. This is my first time, but the cover that she did is fantastic, and we're happy to have her on. Without further ado, Jenna Stark.
Hello.
Hi.
Good
How are you?
The face finally.
Good. Excuse me if I cough. Allergies.
Oh, no problem. We're all allergic to Ray.
You're allergic to me? Oh, okay. The Canadian cold.
So we're going to play the teaser trailer, and then we'll launch the campaign. And then as we go through, we could talk about Jenna's cover, and we'll talk about Sean's work, and as we show the campaign. How's that sound?
Solid. I like it.
Cool. All right. So here comes the trailer. Make sure. Let me know if there's any sound issues.
Would you be able to tell me where you're going to pick up this fresh stuff? No way, man. You could save many lives here. I'd rather die. Sorry. Death is a privilege which you will not be getting today. Are you crazy? Go for a walk. I can't heal everything our large friend is about to deal out to you. You can either talk to our dwarven friend here, or you can talk to me. The dwarf! The dwarf!
So you got some great voice talents too. I mean, Ray has just really been putting a lot of love and professionalism into this project, which is going to reflect and show when you pledge and you hold it in your hands. But you got to pledge.
Cool side note, that teaser we just saw, that was all done by one voice actor. All those voices were the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is
Shout
cool.
out to Cable.
Wow.
Very cool. Hey, Daryl. All right, so why don't we do this? Let's launch, and then we'll show Jenna's cover, and we'll go through the campaign. What do you say?
No
All
time
right.
like the present.
You excited? You ready, Ray? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
You
I'm
ready?
as
You
ready
ready?
as I can be.
Maybe we should wait.
Yeah, sure, we could do that too.
Yeah. Ray, let me tell you something. Ray's been like a kid in a candy shop. He sends me DMs all the time. He's just excited. It's great.
I'm looking forward to seeing where this rabbit hole goes.
Well, let's do it. Launch. It's going slow. There we go. We are live. Madcaps issue 1 is live.
Right on.
See this green button? That is your friend. You hit that, you back the project, you pick the tier that you want, whether it's the cover you want, all the covers, add-ons, etc., which we're going to go over, and there you go. If anybody is new to Kickstarter and is confused or overwhelmed, you can reach out to Ray or myself, and we will help walk you through it. It's really not hard once you know what you're doing. But don't pass up on a really good book because you were confused by Kickstarter. We're going to show the trailer real quick, and then we're going to go through the campaign page.
A brawny intellectual, a devout farmer, a good-hearted charlatan, and a social facilitator. This circle of friends shall reunite in their hometown, Ivywood. Before they can depart for employment, they are interrupted by a local drug problem which carries hidden, sinister undertones. Can they survive the night? And what is the source of this danger? The bond amongst these friends may be the only metric to answer such questions.
Now, if Daryl did her voice, I'm really impressed.
That was voiced by Brooke Eiler. Brooke Eiler and Cable Foster. Both I've played. I've played D&D with Brooke, but not Cable. But they both play Starfinder with Gia McLeod's at RPG All Stars. That is how I found them. They are. I've said this before with others, but I definitely got my money's worth between the two of them. I was very, very satisfied. They were very efficient. I would describe what I was looking for, just like you would explain to an artist if they were to pencil something out, and they're going to interpret it what you want and put their own flair on it, and then you kind of come to a happy medium somewhere. That was a very fast process. I was very happy with how that all played out. And the final product speaks for itself, of course.
So we're going to scroll through, give shout outs to the artists, and then we can get to Jenna's cover, okay?
Sounds great.
So go ahead. You do the talking, I'll do the scrolling.
Okay, so I've been sharing here. So this is Jimbo Salgado. We were already talking about his work, and colored by Dan Kemp. This is the main cover, and it was the first artist I spoke to for covers. His was a little different. He gave me two different layouts. Which one did you like better? I had one that had like a side profile. I really liked it, but it didn't seem right for a first issue. So I wanted.
Well, this is more engaging because they're coming at the viewer,
Yeah. So I have the inks here at my house. I have this piece, and Dan is like combining gas and fire in a very positive way. their combo is just this beautiful end product. I don't know what else I could say to express any more the happiness I got from this product. I really like, on top of all of it, I think does a pretty good job, although they obviously look all very serious. From what they're wearing, in the colors, they're all carrying something different or not at all. They look very unique from each other, and I think that's one of the things I like the best about this cover.
Cool. All right.
So this is done. This is pencil and inked by Harvey Salteras. Again, I have his inks, or I have this piece rather. It's 15 feet away from me back here, and in a box still. He drew the original, the first year rather, of Volume 2 of Ghost Rider, where Dan Ketch became the rider, and eventually Johnny Blaze started hunting him down. A Ghost Rider-less Johnny Blaze. This is one of the first comics I collected back to back as a kid. So this artist had a big impression on me without me even realizing the artist's name, just looking through the pictures and enjoying it for what it is. Right. Everybody in this stream right now can all agree. Every artist looking at their work, it's pretty. It might as well be looking at their fingerprints. So when I see that, it's very surreal. This is a character of my creation, but it looks like it belongs on one of those Ghost Rider panels from that first year. So that's a really cool full circle moment for me.
Very cool.
Also colored by Dan Kemp. This was hand painted by John Zalesnik. John Zalesnik has done a lot of Warhammer, Magic the Gathering. A personal favorite piece he's done just for nostalgic reasons is he's done the cover art for the cartridge of Shinobi for the NES. Cool. So that is just a nice little warm fuzzy, we'll say, that I just looking at that piece, although you can't zoom in right here, you can see every brush stroke. You can see that beautiful harmony when you hand paint something. You can see the stroke, but the intended texture, and you can see it's like seeing something built out of Lego. You like the build, but you can also see each individual brick. That's the best way I can parallel looking at this piece up close. He had a very different nerd. Hi, Chad.
Hey, Chad.
Chad, I was razzing him the other day, so he has full permission to razz me today, so we're good there. But John Zalesnik, his process was very different from Harv Salteras. Harv Salteras, he didn't originally draw out what I asked for, but I just liked it so much better. I know I've used this joke with you already, Phil, earlier this week, but I used the phrase "shut up and take my money," like just go with it. And John Zalesnik was the opposite. He gave me 4 different layouts of the body pose, 4 different backgrounds, and then he decided to add in the barrels for an effect to give more motion to make it look like he's charging forward. And he did a really good job in regards to, he had enough time so he could add some extra little tidbits. For example, the lightning in his eyes I didn't ask for. Thank you very much, Greg. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg.
Even just things like the light in his tendril-like hair, and if and when you're able to look closer at another time, if you buy this variant cover, you can zoom in, you can see the butcher shop in the back. Like this guy actually had an adventure making this picture. It was something really cool to see. There's no undo button, which is another thing I think we all take for granted nowadays. If he made a mistake, he'd have to paint it over. He can't just Control Z or something to that equivalent. No back button. Or when I came across him online, I saw what he was doing. I figured I've got 2 different genres of fans. So the first 2 covers that we were looking at here, they're traditional comic covers. But we also have fantasy. So we have the painted one here. I've pretty much said everything on this, but it's just a segue into the next 2 images. So Jenna, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah.
What would you like me to say about it? Like just the process or?
Anything you'd like, I can fill in the gap.
It was really just kind of trying to come up with something that would be a little more dynamic, but still kind of artistically textured, because that's how I tend to like to paint. In a direction I've been moving towards. The character had a lot of reflective materials, and I kind of want to give like a subtle underpinning of humor with the expression and the look upward. So,
And
This is tied for my favorite cover with Jimbo. First of all, I like the character's aesthetics, but little things for me, like how you did the smoke coming out of the cannon. It really looks like smoke. You did a great job. The lighting, the up lighting on him and on his jaw, and the reflection. I mean, you really got a good sense of the actual texturing of the character's suit. So I love this cover and the Jimbo Salgado cover. They're fantastic. I mean, I love them all, but you really did a great job.
And just to clarify, in case anybody hasn't noticed, you can see the tree in the front. This image was to depict the first time he's used this telescope. It's just like this contraption he's made to like blast raw arcana out of it. And he's blasted that tree. There's just the stump left, and the expression on his face is supposed to be the equivalent of a kid doing something just outside of their age limit. Like, I can't believe I did it, and I can't believe I'm still alive. Let's do it again, kind of thing. But yeah, I really appreciate it.
What's the medium you used for painting this?
I work totally digitally.
Oh, okay. Well, wow. See, now I'm really impressed because
for sure
it looks like canvas, like you used acrylic or something, or even watercolor. I'm very impressive. Very cool.
No, I'm totally self-taught, and I've always kind of strove to keep that traditional underpinning in my work. So glad that comes through.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to do something like this with this detail and all this color?
For this one, I want to say it was total like 8 to 10 hours consecutively. Okay. That's just painting, not, coming up with the composition or anything.
Right. Very cool. So how was it working with Ray? You could be honest. Is he a pain in the ass?
No, he's lots of fun. He's very nice. He might about to just visit us here.
Fun, good.
Like, I want to cover for issue 2.
Well, that's already been spitballed a little bit. One of the main reasons I asked Jenna is on her social media profile. One image she made that I found, it was depicting Gandalf the Grey. And when I saw that, I figured that would be a really nice fantasy style approach to a cover for my comic. I was very, it impressed me enough to reach out. I'm very happy that I followed through because the end product is terrific.
By the way, Jenna and Sean, you can drop whatever links you want in the chat as far as where people can find you. If you're open for commissions, social media presence, please drop them all in the chat. Go right ahead, okay?
Absolutely.
And then we got this one.
So this one's done by Erica Hollis. She's coming on in a little bit, I believe. This one also is digital. Again, a different style. This is something you would see. This looks very like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. I can see that.
The depiction is this is a blue-skinned elf, which we can talk more about later. But he's donning a persona to look human while entering a lit room, and she did a good job making it look like shadow, even though it has nothing to do with shadow. I just really like the depiction and the contrast. Mm-hmm. I like how his human side, he looks like he's casually or confidently smiling. And then on the side that isn't lit up yet, his actual side, it doesn't look per se like evil or deviant, but you can see a bit of a smirk, like it's on my, this is on my terms kind of thing.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest challenges we had when we were collaborating to get this cover done is I wanted the back room to look darker, but if it's all dark, then it's pretty much the picture is just black. Mm-hmm. So we concluded with finally having like a green light, so it's not as strong, but you still get dynamics like the silhouette of the body, and it just breathes more life. It makes the picture more full and complete.
You know, I can't draw. Obviously, I'm a writer, not an artist. But for me, I always thought the most difficult thing, and this is something that pencilers deal with, but inkers even more so, and obviously colorists, is light sources. When there's multiple light sources, that is just so difficult to be able to portray. Like I was talking about Jenna and her cover. You know, it's coming from the side, it's coming up a little. You've got the moon behind them. So there's different light sources that they have to capture in a realistic way. And the average person may not realize all the time. It looks pretty, but but subconsciously you realize when the light sources are wrong. You know what I mean? Like you may not be able to, as a casual observer, you may not be able to pinpoint what looks off, but something looks off. You know, so
Yeah.
those light sources, which this person did on this cover as well. To me, that is just amazing. That I just can't imagine, especially like you said, because everybody always thinks light source. Oh, one light coming this way. No, there's multiples. Like, what if they're holding a lantern and there's a torch on the wall, or the sun? Or,
yes.
So,
yeah, it's one of the funny things. It's like it's real, and you don't notice it until it's wrong. As weird as that sounds.
Like a letterer. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us, give us the story, and give us enough to lure them in.
Okay. Well, I'll read it. I'll read the non-quoted part underneath, and then I'll break it down. I'll extrapolate a little bit. So, if you scroll up just a little bit there, there you go. That's good. So it says the core of this story is an homage to what one feels when they long to see their friends again. It has a fantasy theme focusing on what we would call street-level protagonists in an intimate setting. These characters are not perfect, and they are definitely not the mightiest in the realm. They have contrasts which complement each other, similar to that of a buddy cop dynamic. And as you can see below, these characters are very unique in their own ways. I have this theory that the older you get, especially if you're an extrovert, the less you get to see your friends. I think a lot of people at a very low level actually grieve inside. And one of the characters here, the one with the telescope, Donanini, he's very much, as it said in the trailer, he's kind of like a social facilitator. He's kind of the person not to keep the good times going, but to get more good times. He's not a fan of resting on his laurels, rather. He embraces the past and tries to bring the past with him. And in this case, which I can't talk too much about because it's part of the story, he wants to get these three back together for a job. Just for let's make more good times. We shouldn't feel like we've metaphorically peaked in high school. So the fella at the top there, that was the one that Erica Hollis made the cover for. He's a blue-skinned elf. He comes from a specific type of elves. They lived out in a mountain range, on the mountains, and in the mountains. These mountains they're riddled with silver deposits. These silver deposits, because they're so densely in the mountain, they had a lot of exposure. This is where their blue skin comes from. Now, this is an actual dynamic that humans can experience. There's one fella interviewed on Oprah, and he literally looks like a Smurf. Just a lot of silver consumption. He ended up dying from his methods, but he claimed it would help him overcome diseases and various other things. Now, Chazgo here is not a human. He's an elf, so I can get away with him not dying from this exposure. But one really cool dynamic about that is all of this silver in his veins gives him a lot of resistance to magic, which is a very interesting dynamic. Now, his people, they would be considered xenophobic. They want nothing to do with outsiders. And he felt his people were very dysfunctional. He wanted to leave. He was eventually approached by a very powerful being. And he was offered, if he became this individual's champion, he would be granted a means to leave the mountain and live with others. So because of this deal that they made, he has ability to conceal what he looks like. He has other abilities. I don't want to expose them all now, but his source of his abilities is actually a rook, a chess piece, which he wears as a necklace. I also want to give a shout out to Jay Sloan for drawing these concept sketches.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, Jay's a great artist.
Yes. He has his own. It's going to drive me nuts. He does have an. You'll have to forgive me, Jay. I know he has a couple of projects that are medieval fantasy themed, so I'll continue on anyway. So Dunanini, I've already talked a little bit about. He's actually what he calls a half dwarf. His mother is a gnome, and he has kind of he refers to himself as almost like a mutt. Unlike his mother, who has magical. Hey, Guido, good to see you.
Thank you, Guido.
Guido. Unlike his mother, who has kind of minor magical influence on nature in the wild, his muddled bloodline, he's discovered he's had this weird little influence on metals and crystalline structures. So one of his most unique accomplishments with these abilities that he's still trying to figure out is this contraption, this telescope that he kind of hides in his backpack. It's linked with his goggles, and he can use it to just, as I was saying when I was describing Jenna's cover, blasting raw magic out of it. He has, being the son of a dwarf, he has smithing capabilities, but he can also heat up steels. So very, very unique. One of the funniest things I like about this little guy is he's under 4 feet tall, but he could like turn a tree into splinters with that little contraption. Kind of makes me laugh. I'll move on to the next guy. That's okay.
Saying goodnight to the kiddos.
Yeah, kids first, absolutely. Then we're on to the back two. So this lizard-like, snake-like individual's name is Madracus Darthual. He is quite unique. He was hatched from an egg by human surrogate parents, and he doesn't know too much about his culture. In fact, what he does, he clings to the little he does know. For example, the armor he wears is ceremonial from little pieces of literature that he can get about his kind. They're nicknamed or called a weir, W-Y-R, and they're essentially descendants of this large kaiju-like electric eel known as the Great Stormworm. One of the most interesting dynamics people really like about him is he's able to store lightning in his gizzard and like vomit it out, almost like I don't know if anybody remembers the meme from like 15 years back called Shwoop de Whoop, but it's pretty much that. Despite being over 6.5 feet tall, being 315 pounds, he's very intelligent. It's actually his greatest quality, and he has an affinity towards the arcane, which when he has the time, he does dabble in and study accordingly. He has his own spell book, which is sheathed away on his back underneath his cape. And then that leads us to the last fella, Sarlacc Swamp Trudger. We saw him earlier holding a beheaded creature's head. He's a full-blooded dwarf. The Swamp Trudger clan used to live out in the mountains mining. They decided to embrace the farm life, but I mean, surprise, surprise, dwarves being stubborn, they tried to farm in the middle of swamplands. Over time, they were able to terraform and build their farm out accordingly, and over time, pushing back the swamplands and eliminating them. Because of this, they have, in their culture, they're all very, very in tracking down and pacifying things that go bump in the night because of all of this experience they have in the swamps over the generations that they've been there. He worships.
Sean, can you mute your mic, Sean?
What's going on?
Can you mute your mic?
That's all.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Yeah, I can mute that. Sorry.
All good. And basically, Sarlacc worships something. Heard of that meme in ages. I like the lizard. Well, you're going to have to buy the book because you will see it in the first issue. But anyways, finishing up with Sarlacc here, he worships an entity known only as the Divine, and he felt compelled to leave the swamplands and enter a predominantly human and orc city called Ivywood in his late adolescence. There he built a humble church. It's not large or extravagant. He wasn't there to force his beliefs down anybody's throat, but he did feel motivated to help those less fortunate. As everybody knows, the larger the city, usually the bigger the problems at lower levels. So with this all said and done, his axe, it's actually a holy weapon. So anything that's unholy or undead, it's very potent against. And when you combine that with his abilities out in the wild, he actually has a very unique contribution to the city. Sometimes, not too often, but he can venture outside of the city and figure out a problem or two because he's used to being out in the wild and self-sufficient. You asked before, Phil. Sean is going to tell. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. No, that's awesome. Phil, you asked before about Sarlacc. This is the last thing I'll say about him. You're asking about his temperament, and the best way to describe it is a long fuse to a large cannon. So he give you the shirt off his back, but in a pinch, he's not someone you really want to cross paths with either.
And here we come with some rewards. If your significant other doesn't want you cluttering the house with comics, we have a digital PDF version. You can take anywhere. You could have it on any iPad or your phone or whatever. You take train rides. You can add it to your digital collection. Or if you just want a sample size and you're not sure, there you go. And that's the Jimbo Salgado cover.
Yes.
We have a blank cover. We know that some artists love blank covers, and maybe they want to read the story. Then you can draw on the cover and then sell the book and make a profit, and everybody's happy. Sketch covers are a good thing. The physical copy, obviously, $15. And tell us, how big the book is, and how many issues are you planning to do?
For sure. So there's going to be 3 issues total. This is a mini series. It's my first time writing a book. I've purchased the hard copy. Thank you, Daryl. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. The physical copies, this first issue is 22 pages. This mini series, all 3 issues take place over one night. Literally, the first page, you can see 2 of these individuals before they've all gotten back together, riding into town on the back of a cart, and the sun is setting. By the end of it, they'll be pretty much near the end of the night. You were asking something else earlier. 3 issues. Oh, that's what I was going to say earlier. This is my first time writing a comic. It's up to the people to decide if I have any type of skill or if I'm any decent at doing this kind of thing. It would be kind of pretty arrogant to think I'm just going to start this 12 issue or this monthly issue rather, this series, and expect it to just be proficient. My goal with this is I want to make 3 issues, complete it, have a look at it, and see what life has to offer. If this is all I do, so be it. If it has some type of form of success, I'm happy to reassess and have another stab at this, because I'm definitely having fun, that's for sure.
So you'll get your pick of the 5 covers. Of course, we've got Jenna's cover right there. Support. And just so you know, if you really love her work or Sean's, which we're going to show more of Sean's stuff as well, reach out to them. Maybe they're available for commissions. If they're not at the moment, maybe they can get you on a list. Support artists. Support talented artists, because we have 2 right here. And show them some love, because they make our comics look great. Look, as a writer myself, we could be the greatest writers in the world and nobody will know or care, because it's the cover that pulls them in, and it's the writing that keeps them. So if it isn't for Jenna and Sean and Jimbo and all of them giving these beautiful covers, you're not going to be even interested in looking at our book. So, keep that in mind. If you're looking to hire for your comic book, you get what you pay for, and as you can see, they deliver.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Oh, we got two guests here. I'm sorry, they were buried below. Let me add them in. We've got Erica, which we showed your cover.
Guys.
How are you?
Hello. I'm doing great.
We're going to go through the campaign. I'm Phil. Nice to meet you. We showed your cover before you came, but we're going to go back to it, and you can talk about, composition and your thought process. And, of course, we've got letterer extraordinaire, Micah Myers.
Hello, Micah. Good to see you.
What's going on? We were briefly talking about what we always say. Letterers are the unsung heroes because we only notice what you do if you screw it up. And that's why we never notice what Micah does, because he always does it right.
That's right. Ringo nominee.
There you go.
Ringo nominee.
Two-time.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're going to get to you guys in a minute. Hey, Kenny, what's going on? Shazam. So going over the tiers. Now, remember, this is D&D themed, so we are doing the RPG thing. So you have the campaign starter set. You've got the 4 miniatures. Look at that. 4 miniatures. You could pick. You get the cover. You get the digital copy of the book, and you get the 4 miniatures and a D20. They're paintable. As far as getting them painted, we might discuss adding a tier on that. It really depends on how many people want to go for this to make it, worth it to offer a painted tier. So that's something we'll look at.
Did you want me to show the pictures of we have some of them printed?
Yeah, we will in a minute because I don't want to leave our guests sitting here bored out of their mind for
I understand. That
an
makes
hour.
sense.
Unfortunately, StreamYard, it layers the people in the chat, so I didn't see Erica and Micah. I apologize until I realized, why is there a scroll bar next to their names all of a sudden? So there's the rule of 3. You pick any 3 of the 5 covers and the digital copy as well. Strength in numbers. Everything comes with the digital copy. You get all 5 covers, which I think is the best bet because, hey, hindsight sucks if you didn't get in on board in the beginning. You never know if a book blows up. You get all 5 covers. For all you know, Erica or Jenna become superstars, and you passed up on an original, independent, rare book from them. I say this tongue-in-cheek, but honestly, when we look back as collectors, if we all knew McFarlane was going to become McFarlane, how many of us would have bought these Spider-Man books or his original pages back then for like $40? So hindsight can be a fickle you-know-what. Sean has to go. I'm so sorry, Sean. We didn't get to get more into your stuff.
Sean, I really appreciate you showing up. Thank you very much for putting in the time you did here.
He might have went already. Full inventory. So this one is really cool.
I'm still here.
Oh, good, because we actually get to show your...
I still have my mic muted. Sorry.
Well, before you go, with the full inventory, you get the PDF. You get all 5 copies from these amazing artists. You get the 4 miniatures. You get the D20. You get the laser engraved panel. And you get this really awesome pinup poster, which is the Sean Langley art with Dan Kemp colors. You want to pop up Sean's close-up on his art again before he has to go so we can give him a shout-out?
Stop sharing and then share. Too many windows. Present. There we go. Loading.
All right. So this is the piece that Sean illustrated, and Dan Kemp. Sorry, I'm a basketball fan.
That's what we're calling the pinup now. We're calling it Sean Kemp. It's like
there you go. It's a slam dunk. That's why.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody knows the reference. So yeah, that's a beautiful piece, Sean. I mean, you were at the beginning of the show. Before you go, do you want to kind of give us a little backstory about how coming up with the composition or what your intent was with this?
I just, like I said, when it was mentioned that I could draw a horde of zombies attacking the main characters, I was like, that's all I need. Sign me up. because that's I love drawing the horror stuff. So when I got the characters look amazing, anyways, the designs of the characters were great. So when I saw that I get a chance to draw, kind of some D&D reminiscent fantasy characters that look like this versus a horde of one of my favorite things to draw. Anyways, I'm like, okay, I'm down. It's fine. And so it's just wanted to make sure I had them at the center, of it, and just have them each doing something different in there. And of course, it wouldn't be fun for me if I didn't get to draw like some zombie heads getting chopped in half by a magical axe at some point.
I mean, was it difficult to have so much going on? Because, like I said earlier, despite so much going on, it's not convoluted to the eye. You squarely put what you want the eye on in the middle. Each character is distinctly drawn in their pose, and we can see them. It's not easy to put this much in to an illustration and not have it be muddied up. So, I mean, was it difficult or just second nature? You just had fun, drew a bunch of zombies?
I guess basically, yeah, that is just give me zombies and let me loose. But as long as I just made sure I kept the zombies kind of like, I don't know, it's to my eyes, it's kind of like one of those 3D pictures, that you had a while back where you kind of focus on one thing and everything else fades into the background. So the zombies are kind of like, to me, it's just like the ocean around, a ship in the middle. So it's just, they all blend in, even though they're all individual and distinct in there, they all kind of blend into me. The main characters are still kind of the main focus of it. So difficult, I don't know about difficult anymore because I draw so much of the horror stuff, but time consuming and just making sure that nothing, like looks out of place or blends in. I just like being able to look back at it and take a step back and seeing, okay, this one is missing an arm. This one is, this isn't out of place. This looks to be where it's supposed to be. And so nobody can pick it apart and do a Where's Waldo, finding any mistakes that I made with anatomy or forgetting to add in an arm or something where it should be.
But the good news with zombies is if an arm isn't symmetrically right or proportioned to the body, you can say, well, it's a zombie. It's rotted. It's all messed up. That's your scapegoat. That's the scapegoat.
That's right.
Right, exactly. Don't give away my secrets there. Yeah.
Angel said it was a brilliant piece, and Charles, both of them, the artists, said very nice. So, Sean, where can people find you? Are you open for commissions? Are you available for work?
I just realized you could see my cursor moving.
I am available for it.
Go ahead, John.
Mostly small commissions right now, nothing too big. But yeah, SeanLangley.com or Facebook. It's just Sean Langley Illustration on Facebook. But SeanLangley.com is my real basic bad attempt at a website because I'm not good at that, but it's got all my links to it.
And I did put that link in the chat for anybody that's interested. You can just go ahead and get it from there and click on it and support Sean and his artistic endeavors. Sean, sorry we kept you for a while. We know you're hard at work. We appreciate you coming out.
That's all right. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Sean.
Take care, man. Be good.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
So that was Sean's piece. We got some add-ons. We got, if you just want the D20, it's $8. Again, it's paintable, and we will, depending on how many people order, we can look into adding a tier for painted. The minis, one miniature, $8. 25 for all four. The laser engraved panel, the Jimbo Salgado cover is beautiful. That is 45. We're going to get into interiors in a minute. I don't want to neglect Erica and Micah, so we can get to Micah with the interiors right after. Let's revisit the cover. Okay. So hi, Erica. How are you?
Hi. Great. I hope you guys can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm doing great.
Yeah, we
It's
got
late
you.
here
There
in
might be a little
Chicago.
delay with you, but we got you.
Yeah. No problem.
So tell us how much of a pain in the ass Ray is, and then get into the cover. You know, your composition, your what made you come up with this composition. Tell us about. I was talking about how it's difficult to get the lighting, especially with you had a character that's partly in shadow because he's blue, that's his character, and then when he's changing into the human form. So please take it away.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, shout out to Ray, a great art director.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, great ideas at the start. We were just bouncing ideas off each other. He mentioned that he wanted Chasco kind of emerging from the shadows uh, and having this backlight on him. So yeah, the lighting was a little bit complex. We went back and forth with a few iterations about how the lighting would be and how the background would be. But yeah, I think the end result looked pretty awesome. So the process was great. I mean, I've done cover art now for about 3 years full time. So it's always a back and forth. That's all part of the process. And it was really fun this time. I had a blast, really.
Cool. And digital medium, you said?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, how is it with digital, to get the texturing and, that you need from a stone wall or a wood door? I mean, how hard is that? Because I can't draw worth a damn, so.
I mean, it can be difficult because you're working with, digital media, so you're manipulating it through the computer. So there is that kind of like barrier there as opposed to working more traditionally, which I would love to do more of. But it's not so difficult. I mean, all art takes time. All art takes time.
Agreed.
So, it's just
My
it's part of
stick
it.
figures take a good 30 seconds. And Jenna, do you also do traditional art, or is it strictly digital?
No, I've only ever done traditional, digital. But
Tradigital. I like that. Tradigital.
Yeah, sure, why not? No, I do everything digitally. I don't even really pencil and paper much, but I do want to start transitioning a little bit, just because I think it'd be fun to expand my skill set. And the guy that I mentor with, he's an oil painter, so
Nice.
I've got a great resource to tap into.
I also recommend, because you're missing out on a whole market of original art sale. You commission the cover and then you sell the original art on top of it. And if you're like me, when I do my covers for my comics, I always buy the original art. So you're just missing out on a market. Definitely look into that.
Yes, but it's also an issue of, I live in New York City and I have a 550 square foot apartment with a cat. So it's like, where do I put all this stuff to dry?
Gotcha.
Store supplies.
Fair enough. That's true. And supplies are expensive. So Erica, when being that you're doing the traditional and the digital, is it an adjustment for you? Because obviously it's a different feel, a different texture when it's penciled to paper, as opposed to, it's a little smoother of a glide, I would think, doing digital, even though you still have to render and everything. How do you work with that adjustment?
No, for sure. Originally, I did everything traditional, and then up until I went to art school, I switched to like complete digital everything. So I mean, on one hand, you have like cost cutting because you have all your paint, available to you, so you don't have to go out and get
Edits are easier.
canvas and all these resources that you have to get that you don't need as much of when you're working digitally. But it was a uphill challenge because I mean, I don't have what are those called? A Cintiq, where you're drawing directly onto a screen. I'm using a tablet. So there's a learning curve there for sure. So it was really difficult at first to get used to, this is a completely different, I'm doing the same thing that I would usually do if I was working traditionally, but it's a different medium that I'm working with. But I think it was worth it. And now I can't imagine doing it any other way.
It's all edits are easier. It's more efficient and quicker. And like Jenna was saying, not all the expensive supplies, storage. But Jenna, anytime you want to do original paintings, I can hold them here. Not a problem. I'm in Long Island.
Oh, hey, just not that far away. There we go.
Yeah, I'm a Queens boy who moved out to Long Island. So
nice.
Yeah. So I mean, beautiful covers. And like you, Erica, you weren't on before when I was talking, but I was saying in regards to Jenna and all the other artists, we can't do this without you because comics are an aesthetic, a visual medium. So when you put out comic covers like this, it just draws the eye, and then hopefully we don't suck at writing and we can keep them. So kudos to you and Jenna, and I mean I know Jimbo, so I don't have to give him credit and feed his ego. But no, he's a good guy. But the covers look fantastic on this book. Very very impressive. It makes Ray look like he knows what he's doing, so that's amazing.
That was the plan. Surround myself by talent.
Yeah. See, that's what I always say. You know, people give me the credit for my books, and I go, my superpower is knowing the right people to surround myself with, because they're the ones that I'm. You can call me a great quarterback, but I knew damn well what line I needed to protect me.
It's a good way of putting it.
So very cool. So let's go to the interiors, because Micah has been patiently waiting as well.
Yeah.
Micah, as we said, letterer, and go ahead.
I was just going to say a quick shout out to Evan Quiring, who isn't with us in the stream here, who did inked all the interiors, pencil and ink, and then Dan Kemp colored it all. You can find him at Cyclone Comics. He's known for Murder City Devil and Lucha Mysteries. That's all I wanted to say to that. I know he wasn't here, but I wanted to make sure he definitely got the recognition that he deserved, for sure.
Absolutely, very cool.
I did the Canadian thing and apologized.
Yeah, the politeness. How you doing, Micah?
Oh, I'm good.
Have you conquered the world yet?
Not quite yet.
All right. Well, get on it.
Come together.
So, Micah, how long you been lettering?
11 years. I think like a week ago it was 11 years.
Wow.
Now, at that point when you started, we weren't doing it digitally though, were we? Or we were at that point?
Yeah.
Oh, we were.
Yeah.
All right, because I know the old way was tough.
Yeah. I mean, the digital stuff kind of transitioned like I'd say like towards the end of the 90s, and then in the 2000s, kind of everybody was the only people that still do it by hand, for the most part, are like cartoonists that do everything themselves.
Right.
And I mean, even like guys like Todd Klein and Orzinkowski, guys like that started doing it by hand. For the most part, I think they're all doing it digital now, just for time reasons. You can't really keep up with a monthly book, with especially letters usually do multiple monthly books. If you're doing it by hand, it would be near impossible to keep up.
So what made you decide to become a letterer?
I had wanted to work in comics. I'd had since high school. I had probably 11 or 12 different jobs or attempts at a career, and none of it really worked, and none of it was fun. I guess I wasn't happy. So I started messing around with it, and started taking jobs, and it just kind of worked out. Like, people hired me, and then more people hired me, and then the last job I had, or like real job I had, laid me off. And I just started doing this, and I didn't have to go back and get a real job, I guess.
Right on.
It just kind of worked out.
A lot of people don't understand there's a science to lettering. I mean, it's not just placing the word balloons, it's the font, it's having the font portray emotion in speech, in context. It's grammar, it's flow, panel flow, not blocking art. And a lot of times I'm sure you run into artists that don't give you any room in your panels, and writers. It's so many things. So, I mean, what are some of the challenges you run into as a letterer? And not complaints, challenges.
I'd say, like you said, not enough room for the amount of dialogue. Like, a lot of dialogue in little space is kind of the main problem that you run into. Not in this book, but in other books. That's the main problem. Artists putting the characters in the wrong order, speaking order, that makes for a lot of problems.
Right.
That's the usual stuff, just space and layout problems. The artist not thinking not thinking about the amount of dialogue or the order, like I said, the character order, all that kind of stuff, makes for a more complicated job for me, I guess.
Now, if you talk to some professional editors, they're very specific about how you, if you wanted to do a dramatic pause, how you denote that, and certain things like that. And they have technical terms that I don't even know, to be honest with you. I mean, did you delve into all of that? Did you study all of that stuff, or you just basically, just as long as the grammar's set and I do what's coming from the script? And I mean, did you do a lot of research into lettering, and is it a constantly evolving thing for you?
Yeah, I
growing?
mean, I taught myself how to do it. There were a couple of books out. There was like the Comic Craft How to Letter book, and the DC had a How to Color and Letter, and like the last like third of the book was about lettering. I read those. I read some different blogs, and so there was some YouTube videos. I just kind of absorbed all of it and just figured it out. There's a couple of places where you can go and actually like learn it, like I mean the Kubert School and stuff like that. But like
Mhm.
what's that place called? There's a online digital webbing. What is it? I can't think. There's definitely a place. There's places online that'll like you pay them, whatever thousands of dollars, and they'll teach you, any kind of art and comics. But then they'll have like special for lettering and everything. But I just learned it all myself. I mean, if there's still like Nate Picos will put up YouTube videos about how like how he letters stuff, and I'll watch. I mean, I'm still learning new things all the time. I talk with other letterers and do like Zoom. We Zoom while we're working, and I'll see something they do, and I'll learn. Like I said, doing it 11 years, and there's still stuff you learn. I learn every day. So,
And that's why you're being a professional in the industry for this amount of time, because you understand that you don't know everything, right?
oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
definitely.
the point. Always growing, always learning, always getting better. Nobody's ever the best. But
Yeah,
here's a perfect example too. I mean, look at Madrakis, how you changed, as I was the shape of the word balloon, the font on his dialogue to denote this reptilian character. Like, did you just do that, or did you run it by Ray first and see what he thought? Did you try different fonts with Ray, or did you just go and
if I
Ray's like,
remember
"There's
right,
great"?
yeah, if I remember right, Ray said that he wanted him to have a different voice, and he wanted gosh, I can't remember character's name, the blue guy. Like when he's in his in that form, he wanted to have a different voice for him. So like yeah, he didn't say like this is exactly what I want or anything. He just trusted like, hey, this guy needs to have a special voice to denote that he's a
Cool.
dragon and that he's kind of like a magical character, or not magical, but like a fantasy character. Give him like a certain sound or certain look, and I did that, and Ray liked it, so we went with it. But
Yeah,
I
look
mean,
at
yeah,
the like caption boxes like this too. How you do it, like the scroll parchment, for the sake of the fantasy theme. I mean, this is what professional letterers do.
yeah,
Fantastic.
One
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I was very worried about myself, as I've already said, this is my first time doing it. I was very paranoid of having the right balance of fully communicating my thoughts, but I didn't want to come across as very, very constraining either. I didn't want to come across as
Right.
very controlling. It's actually, I'm very relieved, Erica, when you said I was very clear. I try to communicate in ways where there's no room for interpretation. It's just that's what it is. And as you were saying there, Micah, I wanted the narration is actually somebody writing a letter to somebody else, hence the parchment. And that's why I was looking for something. I was very loose with it, but it was very clear you had in your head. And when I saw it, yeah, that go with that. That's perfect.
But see, that's the best part about collaboration, right? I think as a writer, you've got to trust your team, because I'm not a letterer, I'm not an artist. So I have to trust Erica and Jenna, and I have to trust Micah, and let them be creative. Because if you stifle them and you're so strict, how do
Yes.
you get your best out of them? They're creators, they're artists. They could have a 9 to 5 job in an office if they wanted to be micromanaged. So you got to let them fly a bit, right?
Yes.
Um, But sometimes if you have that image, that vision, you got to be able to communicate that properly to them as well. So I think that's a good blend. That's how I try to work as well. um, Mike is the guy doing letters for 11 years. I'm not going to tell Micah how to do his job. I may come back and say, you know what, I was thinking maybe of this kind of font, although I probably wouldn't. But but the fact is, trust them to have the freedom to explore and experiment. And I always say, as artists, don't be shy to do it. Don't worry if it's not received well. Maybe they didn't want it. They want something else. It's not knocking what you did. It's just not their vision. Just, keep creating, keep going. But that's what usually makes great books, is a team that has no ego. They all know their parts. They know their roles. They enjoy what they're doing, and they just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the
Yeah.
team, there is Ray with that.
I wasn't
You
surprised.
look like a Muppet.
Me?
With that smile, you look like a Muppet.
You should. My middle child looks like a Halloween Muppet. Quite.
Jesus.
Got that smile, but the expression is, "I'm holding a knife behind me for you," or something like that. It's quite hilarious.
Oh my God. Is Evan Quiring, Dan Kemp, the man himself, Micah Myers. That's great. He lettered his fingers. That's great. And that handsome dude, 60 pounds ago. So yeah, I mean, this is the campaign. Let's see where we're at, shall we? All right, 278. We're almost funded. Oh, 307, 15 backers. We're almost funded. That's fantastic. Thank you. We appreciate it. Just, forgive me if this sounds like a marketing pitch, but it is true. You can't dispute it. When you support these campaigns, you're not just supporting Ray or me as the publisher. You're supporting Ray's ability to hire Jenna and Erica and Micah and the editor and the colorist and whoever else. The fact is, it's a domino effect. You're every industry, it can't survive if it doesn't have a thriving economy. So when you pledge, and it's not a huge donation, it's not a big pledge, a $15 investment, you've pissed away more at Starbucks, and they spelled your name wrong on the cup. For a small $6 PDF or a $15 book, you're not just getting an entertaining product or story or quality art that you can love and cherish and enjoy, or a cover that you can frame, or when you see Jenna at a show or Eric at a show, get them to sign it and take a picture with them or CGC it, you're also supporting their careers, their dreams, their livelihoods. And if you've all got dreams and livelihoods, you want someone to support you. You need that. So we need you. We need you to come out and pledge and support these books, not only because the comic industry needs to have great stories that resonate with you. It has to have great art that really catches your eye, but it is really just putting a thriving economy in this industry so it can grow and get better. If you look at indie books and you're like, I like it, but the art is so, or the writing was so, or the editing, well, they need money to improve and get better and make it a better book. So, but the good news is you don't have to worry about that with this, because this is a professional looking book top to bottom, as you can see.
Thanks, Phil.
But we love your support, and it will not be a disappointment. I promise you that. And if you don't pledge, I'm going to find where you live and toilet paper your house. So before we wrap everything up today, I want to give everybody a chance to talk about yourself for a few minutes. Let us know where to find you, if you're available, etc. And since Jenna has been here the longest, we'll start with Jenna. Tell us about yourself, where we can find you, what you do, and you know what? We'll wrap up with that at the end, Ray. But
sure.
I'll let them get their talk, and then you and I can talk more about the campaign where we're not boring. So I'm sorry, Jenna, the floor is yours.
Right now I'm actually in the process of retooling my entire portfolio and website. So I don't have one live right now, but you can find me obviously through the Madcap stuff on Facebook. I accept pretty much all friend requests. I love connecting with other artists, especially obviously to see what they're up to. Excuse me. And you can find me on Instagram at the Jenna Stark. And that's really kind of it right now, unless you go through my agency profile. But that's a whole different thing. So we'll just.
And are you strictly cover art, or do you do sequential work as well? Or
I've never done sequential work. I strictly pretty much do covers and paintings, and
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, Jenna, guys, go back Jenna's cover, support, share it out, let everybody know. Fantastic work. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of time. And to be honest with you, the one thing nobody talks about, courage. Because when you draw something and you put it out in the world, you're opening yourself to criticism, and there's some really crappy people at times. So you have to really put on your own armor when you expose yourself like that. So support them, help build their confidence, their portfolios, and their dream. So, Erica, you're up.
Hey. Yeah. You guys can find me on Twitter mostly, airyart.net, just spelled out. And my portfolio is airyart.net, so it's really easy to find. I almost exclusively do cover art too, and some interior artwork I'm starting to dabble in. I actually have some stuff getting released soon that I can't talk about yet, so
Right
hope
on.
you guys will keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. And again, support Erica's cover. And the same thing I said about Jenna applies to Erica. So really, you both did beautiful work, really impressive. And I really wish you the best of success with your careers and keep going. If you ever have anything you promote and you want to come on my show, come on. We'll do a show spotlighting you yourself, and we'll promote your work and whatever to do. I don't believe we're Facebook friends, but you're always welcome to share anything to my page. As you can see behind me, I'm a big fan of art. I can't draw worth a damn, but I love it and appreciate what you do. So anytime I can help and support. Now, you're not obligated to leave, but you are welcome to if you have to go. But we're going to get to Micah, and then Ray and I are going to wrap up with the campaign, regurgitating a little more of the stuff that we talked about. So, Micah, where can we find you? What are some of the things you've done, and are you available for lettering commissions?
Always. You can find me at michaelletterscomics.com. I have links to everything, all the social media there. I have a store where you can buy the comics I worked on and a comic I wrote called The Disasters about D-list supervillains. I also have some stickers. I sell buttons on Etsy made from like old dollar bin comics.
Cool.
I'm always available for more lettering because this is, like I said, is what I do for a living. So, and I can letter a 22-page book in a day. So, I mean, I always am looking for more work. If you go to a comic store recently, American Psycho from Sumerian as something I lettered, and Vixen NYC for DC Comics. Both of those are like recent releases. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody too, some people, they think they can chintz out on editors or letterers. They can either do it themselves or they get the guy that says I can do it for $3 a page. I'm just telling you, I'm being dead serious. I cannot be more serious. You need an editor because like I can edit books, but I can't edit my own. I'm too close to it. Get an editor.
Makes sense.
And the other thing is get a letterer, a professional true letterer, because I'm telling you, you could have the prettiest art in the world. If your letterer doesn't know what he's doing, it screws up the book. It looks amateurish. It looks like crap. And remember this. The second most important thing after looking at a beautiful piece of art is being able to read the story. And if you don't have the right letterer, or if the letters are off, or it's too small, or it just looks crappy, it turns people off from reading it. They'll never read the story. You will not get them back for issue 2. Don't chintz on letterers, guys. You got to get a quality letterer.
Yep.
But all right, so we're going to show the actual D20 and the figures. If you want to do the zoom-ins, go for it, Ray, and talk about it.
So we have all 4 characters here, as you can see. I've got a couple different pictures here, but you can see the D20. You can see the detail in it. I tried, shout out to Warwick Doolin for making all of these designs for me. Super grateful. He was great to work with. You can see all of the work, all of the effort. I wanted the D20 to look something like the Madcaps logo, which I think the work speaks for itself. That's for sure. I just have two more images here. They're all side by side. I believe Sarlacc here is not to proper scale. He has to be scaled up a bit, but these were just some initial prints. My printer wanted to, I wanted him to get something for me just to show off for this launch party. And then lastly, I just wanted to zoom in on this D20 to show something to scale with another D20, just to give you an idea. The flare in the corners and the edges combined with the letters are all up, they're all raised, and everything around it is valleys. So if you wanted to paint this, much like you see the gold here with the blue paint, you would actually paint a similar style. You would paint around the letters with the letters being raised after. I think it's going to look pretty darn sharp when somebody puts a brush to that.
Now, I just want to remind everybody, if enough people pledge on the minis and the D20, we quite possibly might add a tier as far as getting it painted. And we'll obviously we would look to try to get it to be a very affordable tier and not, spend an arm and a leg to paint them. But everybody loves painted minis.
Yes.
And dice. And if you don't, and you just want to leave them clear, or then that's fine too, or maybe you paint yourself. We would like to offer that option to you, but it really depends on if enough people are pledging throughout the campaign on the minis and the D20. And if you're an RPG fan, we can't talk about stuff, but there's things coming down the pipe besides the comics. As you can see, this all spawned from Ray being an RPGer, Dungeons and Dragons, and it's fantasy. And there's so much we can do and so many places we can go, but we can't go there without you. So be our guide and take us there. All right. That's pretty much it. We thank you, everyone who supported this campaign so far, and we ask you to continue to support. We got a long month ahead of us. We are almost funded. We are 65% there. I'm going to show the trailer one last time.
A brawny intellectual, a devout farmer, a good-hearted charlatan, and a social facilitator. This circle of friends shall reunite in their hometown, Ivywood. Before they can depart for employment, they are interrupted by a local drug problem which carries hidden, sinister undertones. Can they survive the night? And what is the source of this danger? The bond amongst these friends may be the only metric to answer such questions.
Ooh.
So as you can see, from the voice actors to the cover artists to Micah's lettering to Dan Kemp coloring, Ray did not pull any punches as far as giving you professional, beautiful quality in the book. So if you're on the fence, get off the fence, get in our yard, and pick up a book. It's a $6 digital or a $15 floppy if you want a sample size, or you can go all in and get all 5 covers because they're all beautiful. All right. That's pretty much it. We thank you for coming out. Ray, any last words?
All I have left to say is I'm just super happy. I've got backers already. I really appreciate the support and everybody here and anybody who couldn't make it. I really appreciate you coming on this journey with me. This is issue 1 of 3. Depending how much funding I get dictates how long the second issue will take. I'm really, as I've already said, looking forward to just expressing this story and getting it out there. Being able to just express something, or I should say not being able to express something, and I'm sure artists can relate to this. It's almost like a shark that can't swim. It just doesn't feel right. And just being able to, I did it. You know, it's out of my system. I got to express it, and it's there. It definitely scratches an itch. I'm looking forward to getting this thing funded and showing everybody this nice little story. I promise you, by the third act, the third issue, it has a really good payoff. There's a lot of build up to it. It's got some good pacing. From the few that have read issue 1 so far, I've had positive critiques, critical positive critiques. And apparently the pacing I'm pretty good at. There's action, there's dialogue, there's a little bit of everything. And I'm just looking forward to getting issue number 2 started and then finally getting number 3 out and having this entire story as one piece for people to appreciate, not just myself.
Awesome.
Say.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't put Filbo Publishing on the cover if it wasn't worth it. My reputation is just as important as anybody else's. So if I slap a Filbo on there, all 200 plus backers for Tragedy, if you like fantasy, you're in good hands. Come on out. All right. I hope to see all my Filbo supporters that have been backing all my campaigns over the years come on out and show Ray some love. I mean, don't let the fact that he's Canadian bother you. Anyway, look, it was really nice to meet all of Jenna and Erica and Mike. I've met you once before. It's good to talk to you again. I really wish you all well. Thanks for coming out and being patient while we were jibber jabbering. And look forward to seeing you guys again and what new art you put out there and what new books you letter.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you guys.
You too.
Nice to
I'm
see
gonna
all your faces.
Yeah, we have faces. Yeah, it's all letter characters via email.
Wait, you mean we're real people, not just bots that post on Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna leave you with what I always leave you with, guys. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.